was a cold day in September. The idea of drawing weighed heavily on my mind as I sat and watched the late summer rain pour down outside. Felt like I was home as that earthy smell filled my lungs. Got some footage too. You want to see? Right there. Ka-chow. Lightning. Couldn't bring myself to just draw though. I needed something more. So I started smearing paint at random on this piece of paper. Colors in this image felt gloomy, so I thought a noir intro would be fun to do. Didn't really have any more rain footage. Here's a special effect though. That took 10 hours to edit. Only now do I realize that it had no relation to what the video's about at all. Anyways though, I'm gonna talk normal now. Saxophone is fading away and I'm gonna get back to it. This thing's gone on too long. It's really not even that funny of a joke. Goodbye. So today I went outside. I know, riveting. Upon going outside today, I started to hear screaming across the street, right? The sound of just like people just screaming in shock. Turns out it was my neighbors, and they've been having some huge fights, and I don't know, I guess the police have been called on them once or twice? I don't know, anyways, I just kind of got to the car and like listened for a second. I don't know what they were screaming about. It seemed like nonsense to me. I was going somewhere with this story, though. The point of the story isn't that they were screaming. The point of the story is, as I pulled out of my driveway and hooked a left, I witnessed my neighbor standing there without a shirt on, smoking a cigarette, just watching the madness unfold, or rather, listening to the madness unfold. And he just kind of casually waved to me, like an understanding wave of like, hey, this is happening. And like... You could tell this guy has heard them fight multiple times, and it, for the life of me, was probably the funniest thing I'd seen in a while. Just waving to my shirtless neighbor as he watched this family fight, and just kind of smiling and smoking a cigarette. Anyways, though, today I'm doing acrylic paints on that crescent render paper, which is like no show-through paper. You're supposed to be able to use like any medium you want on it, and there's no downside that's never going to show through, which so far has been, it's been true so far. I've done acrylics on this stuff. I've used Sharpies, Copic markers, ink. My only problem with this paper is it is very bad if you're trying to use a dip pen. It like runs right into the paper. You can't get crisp lines unless you're using like an actual pen. So that kind of sucks, but it doesn't really matter. Today I drew this castle thing. I had it in my mind. I don't know, I've been very much into just kind of smearing paint around lately. Been using those palette knives, and something about like the sound of like scraping like the paint across the surface, like it's just the best. You can't really tell on paper. It's not as prominent. On canvas though, it is the most satisfying feeling. Oh god, I should do that. I should do a canvas painting one of these days, I don't know. Smoothing stuff out with a palette knife is a great way of kind of laying down general shapes. Good for abstract painting too, which I guess is what this is. I had this image of like a castle in my mind on top of a waterfall. Some kind of ultra-dimensional castle thing. Something from some other dimension. I don't know, that's what I like. And it did like a weird sky with like stars and clouds, and I just like the big waterfall look. I like that idea of like structures being built right on the peak of a waterfall. It seemed very nice, and I was going to say Lovecraftian. I kind of don't like when people use the word Lovecraftian. It feels like it's a lost all meaning. So whenever anything is Lovecraftian and you describe it as such, it just feels like it's lost all its effect at this point. There's nothing scary about saying that something feels eldritch or Lovecraftian. We need different words. I vote that whenever something is Lovecraftian from now on, we say it's archaic. Yeah. I don't know. I like the word archaic. Nobody uses the word archaic anymore. It's one of those words that's just like gone. You know what other words are just like gone? that you don't hear people say anymore? I was watching some documentary the other day. The guy said, hear low. Not like therefore, but like hear low. And you don't hear people say that anymore. And I like that term a lot, and it needs to come back. Archaic and hear low. Hear low, eldritch, and Lovecraftian shall be replaced with archaic. There. We all happy? I'm happy. I wish that my thumb didn't cover up so much of what I was drawing when I went back over this. I went back over it with a Micron pen, Pigma Micron. They are great. I wouldn't recommend using them over acrylics, though. It kind of gummed up the felt tip of it, and it kind of stopped working after a little bit. Had to wash out the tip a lot to get it to go again. But it worked okay. I think the lines were too fine, and if given the chance, I would definitely go over it again, which I probably will. But for now, the finished piece is okay. This is also just an experiment, I would say. I don't know. I'm not good at painting, per se. I'm good at painting miniatures or 3D things, sculptures and whatnot. But that's because the depth and the raised areas and the texture is already there. For something two-dimensional, you have to add all that yourself. You have to add all of the artificial lighting. You have to make everything look natural just on your own. Just freehand it, And that makes it difficult. It's hard for me to picture that. And I've gotten better, I'm going to college for this stuff, so I've gotten better, but it's definitely not easy, I would say. Art shouldn't be easy all the time, though, You should challenge yourself. That's what I do. I challenge myself. I'll tell myself, today you're going to draw a perspective drawing. And then I consequently hate myself after that and blame my past self for all of my problems. But you know what? That's okay. What was I talking about? Lately, however, I've been just enjoying editing the videos. I used to never really enjoy editing, but there's something very rewarding about it when I do it nowadays. It feels like making progress and learning new things, and that's great. That's how it should be. I guess that video editing is a craft in a way. It's an art. That absolutely is. I don't know. There's people that spend their whole lives doing it. There's an art to it. I don't think I'm very good at it, per se. I mean, what I edit isn't necessarily too difficult. It's just speeding up footage, throwing in a joke every once in a while. The intros take the longest. The intros and sometimes the outros. I spend a lot of time on those. Overall, I spend maybe like 8 to 10 hours editing each video. So it's like a full shift at work. It's fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy every second of it, Because I'm working on something that I want to work on. There's a lot of people that have I've seen fall out of video editing and YouTube making lately. And it's kind of a shame because YouTube is in a way going downhill. And I guess I could talk about that for a long time. YouTube just has lost its luster in a lot of ways. It's harder nowadays to make content than it ever was before. And that's because people just don't get paid anymore. Look at all these animators. People like Oni Plays or Oni Plays? No, Oni NG or Psychic Pebbles. Like they used to animate, And even though it takes like 6 months to make one animation, they got paid a lot of money for it because they would get a lot of views. And even though they still get a lot of views, they get paid a fraction of what they used to. And that's why a lot of people are turning away from YouTube, because YouTube favors quantity over quality. So I'm just doing this for fun. And I feel like if something that's a hobby becomes a career, you run the risk of making it not fun anymore because now it's mandatory. That's what I'm getting at. I want to thank you all for watching, for tuning in. Got to get it right to that 10-minute mark so I can put an ad in the middle. So we're just going to sit here and fiddle fast.